Hey folks, welcome to Gillette Stadium. Nick O'Malley here with Kevin Duffy, here for the Patriots Wednesday media session, and we just finished up not just, but a little while ago, finished up the press conference with Bill Belichick, which was a weird sort of press conference because I put up a video of it, he cracked a smile 4 times.
He did, yeah. Well, even Mike Caruso of ESPN, his phone went off, or actually I think it was a recorder of a previous interview went off very loudly during the press conference, and Mike got up and was kind of embarrassed and ran off and to shut the thing up, and Belichick was up there laughing.
Locker room, the miserable days where you're getting yelled at, but then you go out on Sunday and you get
And he had to kind of compose himself before he went again, so it was... I'm always entertained by Belichick press conferences.
Yeah.
That was a first. I had not seen that before,
Yeah.
but you're right. He smiled and laughed quite a bit today, more than usual for him.
Yeah, he had one of those goofy questions he'll sometimes get, and someone asked him, like, oh, Bill, are you going to, think about what you're wearing, get your hair all nice for Monday Night Football?
I mentioned how there's a little maybe more juice to playing on Monday Night Football. Does that come into play for coaches at all? You think about what you're going to wear, you take more time doing your hair?
And he's like, no. Like, obviously not. Obviously.
Yeah, he said obviously.
I think that's obvious.
Like, we all know what's going on here. So it's weird because Belichick seems to have kind of the good and bad days where sometimes, like, oh, he's talking today, and the days where it's just, we're just here to talk about the game next week.
But honestly, I'm pretty much done with that. Wait, we're really on to Buffalo. Like,
I'm not worried about other teams. Like, clothes are clothes. Like,
but right now, I'm just focused on Denver. Sorry, we can't connect on that.
do the lips. And it'll get a question and pause for 5 seconds before giving a terrible answer.
Those are the toughest, yeah.
Any excuse this week to analyze film of the butt fumble?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get to that. Great question.
So you've covered this team longer than I have. When you're asking him a question, what's your strategy to try and get a good answer out of Bill Belichick?
It's an evolving strategy because sometimes it doesn't work. Like, it's hard. It's crazy how much time some of us beat writers put into trying to word a question exactly 100% the best way possible, so it has at least a chance of getting answered. And even then, it might not. My conclusion, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, it's just what I tell myself, it depends more on his mood that day than it does on the wording of your question. If he's in a good mood and he's open to talking about the subject that you broach, then he'll talk about it. If he's in a bad mood and he doesn't want to talk about anything, then you can word your question the best way possible and you still won't really get much.
I really spent a lot of time on the halftime show.
So at least that's what I tell myself, because oftentimes I'll ask something and it goes absolutely nowhere. Today I tried to ask about Dwayne Allen and it was just not happening. I mean, he talked a little bit about him, but not really in the depth and detail that you would hope.
It seems like he's hit a stride in the past month or so. Would you agree with that, and why do you think he's been able to kind of carve out his role?
Well, I think everybody on the team's improved over the course of the year. I hope we've spent a lot of time, a lot of practices, and had a number of games, so I don't think anybody's where they wanted to be.
I've had conversations with a lot of the other Patriots beat writers about just, on our drive from Gillette, I'm coming from Somerville. I got an hour and change every day. I have a lot of time to think about how I'm going to word whatever it is that I'm going to ask him, and sometimes you spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying to think of, okay, I want to ask him about this subject. Now, how the hell am I going to get him to talk about it? And I feel like it's always an accomplishment whenever any of us do get him to open up a little bit, because it's so rare. You almost feel like proud of yourself that you were able to achieve that.
The kind of tried and true method you kind of see is like asking him anything to do with football history, or especially asking a question about has anything to do with the kicking game. Like, you're in for a lecture.
That's automatic.
Yeah.
75 when we beat Miami to didn't clinch the playoffs, but it put us pretty close in Baltimore. The final kick came down to Tony Linhart. It was about a 40-yard field goal, And you could see the line of scrimmage, you could see the two teams line up for the field goal, but once the ball hit this foot, you had no idea whether it was good or not good.
That's what you went to, right? Or the other day? Oh no, you asked about the
injuries,
losing multiple players, right?
But just kind of like, I think it was a legitimate question. Like, what happens when
it was a good question.
A sudden shift in availability, such as the play when both Marquise and Trey Flowers went on the same play. How does the coaching staff adjust on the fly to make sure you have the right players on the field and you don't have the miscommunication?
Yeah.
Kind of, it's like, realize like, oh, that's kind of like a good football question that isn't like super apparent and isn't like, he can kind of tell when you're just trying to milk him for a quote. He won't give it to you.
No. Yeah. One other wrinkle of the Belichick presser that we didn't get into today, how he weekly has to hype up the other team to sometimes like unrealistic levels.
Morstead's as good a punter as this league's ever seen. Tremendous player. Accurate, long, good plus 50, and does everything well.
This week especially will be kind of funny because they just played Miami.
Yeah.
So we just heard his spiel about how amazing the Dolphins skill players are and how explosive they are. We heard it 2 weeks ago, and now we're going to hear it again. And he led off his press conference today talking about I think how explosive they were in the kicking game and that they had a defensive touchdown. And this, I mean, and I believe truly that Belichick does have respect for a lot of his opponents.
Yeah.
Because that's
like they still have Jarvis Landry and not
right. Because if Belichick were that cocky that he didn't respect his opponents, he would get complacent and it would reflect in the way the Patriots play, and that doesn't happen. So I do think he respects definitely like multiple players on every team, and there's some coaches that he has a great respect for too. But he also, it gets a little hyperbolic when he talks about these teams and you know, like last week, him talking about Charles Clay, the guy was at a loss for words to describe how amazing Charles Clay was.
Charles Clay's the next Kellen Winslow Sr., according to Bill Belichick.
He walked away from that press conference, and I'm like, well, they're screwed. There's no way they're going to be able to defend this guy, Charles Clay. How are they going to be able to cover him? But, so that's one other element that I don't know if it gets talked about as much as like his grumpiness. It's just his total over-the-top praise for opponents. That's something that over the years I've found to be pretty funny.